Don't let me stray. Please guide my way onto the path of my deen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah, I'm calling your name. Oh, Allah.
Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to another edition of your favorite program, Let's Talk, of course, on your favorite channel, Huda TV. Please continue to make dua for us and support us here at Huda TV with your ideas, with your contributions, with your feedback via Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and all the social media outlets that we have available. Indeed, this channel is to benefit the youth, the Muslims everywhere around the world, so we can't do that without your support. Let's Talk has its own Facebook page as well as the channel in general, so please feel free to leave those comments, inshallah. In this edition of Let's Talk, we'll be discussing an important issue. I think it's important for Muslims all around the world, whether in the Muslim countries or Western countries, or non-Muslim countries rather, we can say. And that is not being off the hook. You're not off the hook. That means, and we will explain in this episode, is it perhaps sufficient just to say, I'm a Muslim and that's it? Or do we have more responsibilities to the society that we live in, to our friends and coworkers and neighbors who are Muslims and non-Muslims as well? So we want to discuss that with our friends. And we have a very lively studio audience, or participants rather, today from all around the world. And I will let them introduce themselves, inshallah. Brother, I want you to go, Assalamu alaikum, thank you for joining me.
Alaikum salam wa barakatuh. You're welcome.
Hey, it's been a while since you've been on the show. We had a new decor since you've been here, so alhamdulillah. So tell me your name, your full name, what you're doing, are you studying, are you working, and tell us a little bit about this topic.
Okay, so my name is Abdurrahman Ahmad Ata, and I'm a student at Al-Azhar University, Faculty of Languages and Translation, and that's it.
Great. What year are you in? What year at the university? Are you in the first year, the second year, the third year?
Fourth year.
Oh, okay. So
last year.
Okay, great.
So I'll be grad this year.
Okay, great. Inshallah. Brother, go ahead, brother.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum. Thank you for being back with me, brother.
No problem. My name's Ilyas from London, and I'm here I'm going to start as hard student, inshallah.
Okay, great. We're looking forward to having you back on future episodes as well, and thank you for being with me on this one. Okay. Go ahead, brother.
My name is Abdul Hakim. I am from Afghanistan, and I'm studied Arabic in Azhar University.
And I want you to tell me what part of Afghanistan you are from.
I'm from Wardak province.
Wardak province, okay. Yeah. Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Go ahead, brother.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Layth Al-Qadari. I am 20 years old, currently in the Faculty of Dentistry.
Great.
In my third year. And yes, I'm here with you guys today, inshallah.
Hey, thank you, man. I hope to have you back on future episodes, inshallah.
Inshallah.
And okay, you guys, let's get into the topic. We'll start with my right. Coming where I'm from in the States, you see a lot of people, maybe perhaps I'm one of them myself sometimes. You feel like, look, Allah bless me with Islam. I'm of the people who say La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah. So it's kind of like enough for me, I'm off the hook. I don't have any responsibilities towards my friends and community. What do you think about that statement? Is this correct?
Yeah, sure. Many people feel like that, and many people had this time a lot. They think that they are Muslims, so it is a good thing, but it is not enough at all for me. So they think that it is not for them to be a Muslim or to be a Muslim person, but it's not enough at all, because you have responsibilities. It's a religion. You have something to perform. You have something. You have Allah to worship, and you have Allah to just be truthful towards Allah. How can you be truthful towards Allah while you are a Muslim person? You have responsibilities. You have some deeds to perform them. So it is not enough at all just to be a Muslim. And you have the biggest responsibility is how would you represent Islam? How would you represent your religion?
Yeah, thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. And this is important for people here and there, in the Middle East, in the Muslim countries, and in the non-Muslim countries. I think it's important for everyone.
Yeah, sure, for every Muslim.
Yeah, thank you, brother. Go ahead, brother Elias.
Yes, a lot of people, they do think that I'm a Muslim, so it's no problem. I can just live my life the way I want to live. But we all have a big responsibility, because coming from where I'm from, where Muslims are a minority, the non-Muslims are looking at Muslims to see how they behave, how they speak, how they act, how they interact with one another, how they interact with the non-Muslim community at large. So if we just have the mindset that I'm a Muslim and that's it, I don't care about anything else, then you're just going to give a negative light on Islam. I'm going to talk from personal experience. I grew up as a non-Muslim. and some of the Muslims were doing the exact same things we were doing. So when it came time to talk about Islam, our first response was, well, you do the exact same things that we do.
Right.
Why are you so different?
Right. So what attracted you to Islam then, if the behavior of certain people in your area perhaps wasn't, of Muslims wasn't that stellar or great? What attracted you to become Muslim then?
Well, the religion itself, I mean, I remember hearing about someone who translated the Quran. He said, Alhamdulillah, I knew Islam before I knew Muslims.
That's a fun.
Yeah, because it's like the topic of the show today.
Imam Ghazali said it before when he said that the West has Islam without Muslims, but the East has Muslims without Islam.
Yeah, so I mean, the thing that really seduced me, if you wish, was just the books and the information itself.
Yeah.
And there was one friend that I had, just one, when I was in school, in college, and even ended up in the same university as me. And I've never heard him swear once. His behavior was immense, fantastic manners. No, it was perfect, but he was very, very nice. So when I saw things about Islam on TV, I could always refer to him and say, well, no, because my friend, he doesn't do that.
Right.
My friend, he doesn't behave this way. My friend, everything was just relating back to him. But on the other hand, you had some of my other friends who were just, Allah musta'an, doing everything that we were doing.
Right. Definitely, I agree.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Good point. Let's go this way, inshallah. Brother, what do you think of this this topic? Is it enough simply to say, look, I'm Muslim, Allah bless me with that, so I don't have responsibilities towards my community or my family or my friends, etc.?
Okay, that's a good question, and that's not enough that we are a Muslim, alhamdulillah. That's not enough. That's our responsibility to spread the Islam to the corner of the world and show them that what is the meaning of Islam, and just they know that Islam is means just killing the people, the honest people. They are thinking like that. All of my friends, they are living in UK, in United States. When they are talking about Islam, the non-Muslim, they are calling that you're terrorist, and their mind is like Islam is a terrorist. It's not, but we will. This is our responsibility to show them that this is not terrorist. Islam means a piece of life. How to live.
Yes.
It will show Islam.
Yeah, it's our responsibility to show them. Yeah. To combat the negative perception that we are getting via CNN, BBC, Fox, and all this. And then, unfortunately, the media here in the Middle East as well, who are doing a great job to demonize Islam and Muslims. Brother, go ahead.
Yeah, I think a good example of that is when someone first converts to Islam. He has all this zest and this motivation, and he's following the Sunnah. Within 1 week, he changes his entire life. Within 1 week, all his habits change and everything. And then the next year, he's still okay. The third, fourth, fifth year, then things start to become, a little bit. Things get more dull. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's not as sharp, and he's not as like.
He's not as eager or not as energized.
Exactly.
He's hitting kind of like a speed bump or something, right?
A plateau or something. Like he stops growing. You know what I mean? He just stops somewhere.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. Thank you.
And subhanallah, I think the remedy for that is the Quran, a constant reminder. You know what I mean? A constant reminder, because the Quran looks to anyone who reads it as the Quran doesn't classify between like the Quran doesn't speak to you differently than it does to me. It treats us all like we're equal. So no matter how religious you are, no matter how long your beard is, no matter how many times you pray a day, you will always remember that you're still an abd, and that you still have there's still a probability that you won't make it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You won't make it to the final success, inshallah. So you regain that motivation.
Yes, thank you, brother. Because these guys, they also get burned out real quickly because they're really enthused and energized. And then you might find them later, may Allah help us from this, but even leaving the deen completely because they were so tough on themselves. And briefly, before we check out the report, also as a revert to Islam myself, this happens, where you kind of condemn like the other Muslims. Oh, these guys aren't that good. But then you realize, we're all just human beings. We all do make mistakes. And as a Muslim now myself, I fall into the categories that other guys now. I'm not out there doing all this stuff. I'm not, giving dawah. So this topic affects the reverts, the born Muslims, the Muslims here in the Arab countries, and the Muslims in America and other places. So we have an interesting report, you guys. I want you to check it out. I believe a brother from the UK who was talking about, it's interesting, it's a little nasheed about being sorry for not being able to do all the things that he wants to do. So you guys check it out. We'll be right back.
Subhana with Allah, Allah, I'm calling your name.
I'm sorry. And I know sorry is not enough, but I'm sorry, it's all I have. And I'm sorry I can't apologize on behalf of anyone but the man that I am. I'm sorry for my failures, my inadequacies, which unfortunately I do not always see because I have this bad habit of speaking before my tongue asks my brain to proceed, so please forgive me. I will make mistakes until the day I cease to breathe, and you will find many more if you make it your mission to seek, so please do not hold them against me. Instead, make excuses for me, and if you see something wrong with me, then please advise me privately. I am nowhere near perfect. In fact, I am perfectly incomplete, inconsistent with my purpose, carrying my own worth of bad deeds. I used to be in love with conflicts, ready for anyone to step to me. Had an attitude of ingratitude, a straight rude boy recipe. You can catch me on the corner, posted up, being deceived. I wanted to be a bad boy until I saw bad men deceived. Rest in peace. To my ego, every time I put my head to the floor in complete humiliation, I seek salvation from the most forgiving Lord. I'm sorry to my mother, who I sometimes wouldn't kiss. Days and weeks would pass by and I wouldn't even remember this gift of life she sacrificed. Stretch marks and teeth bites, gray hairs over the years to see that things ain't black and white, but such is life. My father went to war twice. Once back home, the other time to get me out the street life. Stand and salute thug life, soldiers in a never-ending fight, costing casualties of colored boys like toys, chasing this worldly life. Now I'm sorry to see mothers in the masjid begging the imam to intercede. Her baby has become a monster, treating her like a slave. Please, brother, talk to my son. But sister, I don't know what to say to a man who doesn't respect his own mother. These are signs of the final day. What a shame. I'm sorry to say that most of our youth really have no reasons to complain, because while they're dying for the latest style, some people are dying for another day. But we could have been they, and they could have been in our place. Allah is testing everyone from the scales we can't escape. So why is it that we are too scared to give for his sake? It's like we don't believe in the promise of Allah, even though he gives and he takes. We collect interest for dunya homes like we have no interest in Jannah's gates. We can debate until we are blue in the face, but just look at this ummah state. I'm sorry.
Subhana with Allah, Allah, I'm calling your name.
Welcome back. I certainly hope you enjoyed that report. And a quick correction, that brother's actually from Canada, I believe, not from the UK. But let's talk about the report. We'll go from my right. I like the spoken word. It's a good way of self-expression. But I think in this one, he's really having like regrets about his past. And so it's important for us to remember our responsibilities now. I mean, I shouldn't say that. He's reflecting on his past, perhaps. And I think it's important that we that we recognize our responsibility as Muslims now, before we get to a point where, where we look back and we're regretting this sort of thing. But let me take your thoughts.
What I felt, as you said, a man feels responsibility, realized the responsibility, realized his mistakes, and recognized his sins before. So he's regretting. This is what I felt. A man feels responsibility, and this is responsibility, to recognize your mistakes and to know what you're supposed to do.
Yeah,
and I really feel that realizing our responsibility towards this religion, or towards God, towards Allah, we're not of hope.
Yeah,
Sure.
great.
That's what I felt.
What do you think, brother? You feel like also there's a confusion of like hip-hop culture and street life growing up in the Western countries and your identity as a Muslim, and then this creates natural like issues for every human being to sort out. Who am I as a human being? And it takes a little time, takes a little maturity. You have to go down that path. So, what do you think?
Yeah, I think definitely coming from UK and London and the youth there, they do feel identity crisis or conflict. You feel that you have to fit in. It's a very powerful culture, very, very powerful. If you live that way, then everyone respects you. If you have money and if you're a boy, if you've got a lot of women and you have a lot of nice cars and you sell drugs and make a lot of money, it's very, very attractive to people. A lot of people, they seek it. A lot of people die seeking it. A lot of people, they attain it and then die whilst they attained it. So it's very, very difficult for to tell a young Muslim, just stay away from all of that. Yeah. Which is why, subhanAllah, a lot of people leave that life and go to Islam, but then at the same time you see a lot of people that are born in Muslim families going in the opposite direction. Yeah. So it's painful to see sometimes. It's difficult.
Thank you, brother. Certainly. I feel like in the United States, a lot of the people that are in the street life, a lot guides them to Islam. But also now in other countries like the UK, it's the reverse somehow. Wow. So this, it's a consumerism also that drives young people to get away from the responsibilities. And it's, about having the latest shoes, the latest shirt, the latest CD, going to the movie theaters. All this consumerism, it's just so powerful and has a negative effect on the youth. We have a minute before the break, brothers. I want to take your thoughts about the video. Go ahead.
Okay, that was a very fantastic video. And those people, when they read the Quran, when they read the Islam, what does the meaning of Islam? After that, they regret that they become a Muslim. When they saw the reality, and Islam is the reality that
yes, of course,
to life. And كل بني آدم خطأ وخير الخطائين التوابين. When you commit a sin, after that regret.
Yes.
This is the best.
Thank you, brother. Yes. Thank you for bringing that. That's ayah or hadith?
Hadith.
Hadith. Thank you, brother. Yeah, great. Yeah, that's great because we're human beings, so we make mistakes. So the idea is to regret afterwards. Make repentance. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, brother. I loved how he brought a picture of like how the kids are looking for the latest shoes and all the latest styles, and some people are trying to live. And he brought a picture of that really skinny kid in whatever country. SubhanAllah, I think the only thing that would drive me to take something out of my wallet or something that I desire and sacrifice that thing that I desire to give that kid money or food is the fact that I know that it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who divides the provision. It is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who made me richer than him and made him not have anything at all. Right. So it is my responsibility to give him something.
Thank you, brother. Go ahead.
Do we still have time?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So I want to talk about that. Like, there's nothing else that would drive me to actually sacrifice something for someone on the opposite corner of the world, except that I know that I'm only here because Allah made me here. You know what I mean? Like even the effort that I put into becoming who I am, I couldn't have put that effort even if I couldn't have put that effort if I wasn't born in where I was born, in the family that I was born in the country that I was born in.
It's the name of Allah and everything.
Exactly. In the financial status that I was born in, subhanAllah. So it's from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to begin with. Once I can actually believe in that, not just say it and just show it to people, I could actually believe it and put it into my heart, I will be able to sacrifice the new iPhone that I want to buy, or the new Samsung, or the new whatever I want to buy, and put that money into buying something that can benefit my brother, my brother who has nothing to eat.
Thank you. You guys stay with me. We're going to continue this discussion after the break. You guys stay tuned for more Let's Talk. We're going to take a short break.
Subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah, I'm
Welcome back to Let's Talk. You're not off the hook yet. If you're just tuning in, that's what we are discussing. You're not off the hook to convey the message of Islam to your perhaps non-Muslim family, your friends, neighbors, coworkers, students at the university that you attend. You're not off the hook. Is it simply enough just to say the Shahada and move forward with your life and not acting on what you know and learning and striving to learn more about Islam and sharing that with others? That's what we're talking about today. You don't want to get to a point in your life where you look back and you are in a lot of regret about the things you did and didn't do. Perhaps the things you didn't do are more important than the things you did do. So let me start with my right, but let's go back, brother. Not off the hook yet. That's our discussion. We watched an interesting video in the first half, the first segment rather. Some people, they say the Shahada and they say this is enough. But I'm not a sheikh. I don't know. You go to us. So is it enough to say the Shahada with my tongue and then I didn't take any action after that? Is that enough? Is that sufficient?
No, sure, it's not enough. And the message of Islam deserves a lot just to give. We have people in this world live for a message and die for a message. And I think the message of Islam deserves more than any message just to give for, or to live for, or to die even for. So what I think that everybody of us has the responsibility just to get for Islam, or to call for Islam, or to let the message deliver the other persons around him. Even if they are Muslims or not, because they might be Muslims and they think that it is enough to be Muslims, but it's not enough at all. So I need just to deliver the message that it is not enough. And I think that we need to be qualified enough if we'd like to call for Islam. And it is very important because we might represent Islam in a very bad way because we're not qualified, because it's a responsibility that you started to talk about Islam or you started to call for Islam. So this responsibility needs qualifications. So never do that while you don't have the qualifications. But if you don't have the qualifications and the religious science, you can just live as a Muslim. You can just treat with people as Muslim, deal with people as a Muslim. They got to be well behaved, so you are representing Islam in a very good way.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, through your behaviors and that. Yeah, thank you, brother. Brother, my question to you is, why do people get to this point? I mean, perhaps some of us fall into this as well. We did say the Shahada, we believe with our hearts, but we've left a lot of the action. So what are some of the reasons that people fall into this kind of trend where they gradually fall away from practicing the deen? Because maybe at one point someone is practicing the deen, and then over time he just kind of unconsciously gets away from it. What are the causes?
I think, so, as we were mentioning before, sometimes it can be a result of burnout. A person, they just try to change everything overnight. But, you know, we need to remember that Allah revealed the Quran over a period of 23 years. You know, 13 years Makkah, 10 years in Medina. It's just slowly and gradually. If you just change everything overnight, then it's very difficult for you to live that way. So overnight, maybe a person's, I've seen it myself, they change their name, they change the way they dress, they change who they affiliate themselves with. Everything changes overnight, and if you don't have the support, you know, you're going to fall away very, very quickly. You're going to go back faster than you came in. So I think the support for new Muslims is very, very key, because in the UK you have a lot of people accepting Islam, but the retention isn't as high. It's much lower. A lot of people, they leave Islam because they don't get the support from the community, or there are so many cultural barriers that are in between them and Islam, and they think that these things are Islamic, but in reality they're not. So a person may become a Muslim and experience a lot of racism that they wasn't receiving before Islam, or some of the cultural practices. So it's important that we have the community structures that help new Muslims or people that are even trying to be Islamic. You know, a person, I've seen it so many times, a person wants to, they're born and raised as a Muslim, and they want to become more Islamic, they want to change their identity somewhat, and their family hate it, and they're against them doing it, so definitely we need to support them. Yeah,
but I also saw a study years ago, it was like a retention study of people accepting Islam in the United States and how many people are still Muslim after 2 years. It was staggering, it was very negative. I forgot the amount of people leaving. As you said, people, they face this kind of heritage, cultural stuff that's a barrier between them and Islam, so it's difficult. Thank you, Brother, I appreciate it. Brother, what do you think? What are some excuses? Why do people get away from practicing Islam in the first place? How do they get there? What are some reasons, perhaps, that some of us fall into this category where we do confirm that we are Muslim and we say the Shahada, but then our kind of behavior and our action gets far away from that? What are some of the causes?
The cause is this, that nowadays the people, the young generation, they are, a lot of them, I saw them, they are listening to the music, and that is a major problem. And when they are when they have a free time, they are repeating the songs.
Reciting.
Yeah.
Reciting the songs.
Right, like that.
Yeah.
But in fact, but the new generation, they must be continue the azkar. It means we don't have any holiday in Islam. Holidays, it means that it's not a day that you are not praying or not azkar. We must be 24 and 5. What does mean? 24 hours and 5 days in a week. We must be continue our prayer, our azkar, and by telling that, by saying this, Allahu Akbar, Subhanallah, bihamdi, Subhanallah al-Azim.
But 7 days a week.
Yeah. When you saw something beautiful, MashaAllah, Subhanallah, like
Right.
that kind of, you must be continue our language, our thought.
Yeah,
Like
okay,
that
yeah.
kind of practice.
24 hours, 7 days a week, subhanAllah. Great point.
Yeah.
Brother, go ahead.
About the music, the point of music. Music is a philosophy.
a way of
Nowadays, it's a
life.
philosophy. It's not just a couple words being recited and repeated and having fun. It's an actual philosophy of just like do whatever you want, be who you are. I once did a project for university about I was analyzing lyrics, music lyrics. You know what I mean? And it was surprising. It's as if you were reading something from one of the satanic books. It was actually that bad. It was surprising because there were songs that were very popular and for very famous singers. And I was reading the lyrics and I was trying to take out what could be looked at as a philosophy. And it was all consistent. All of it was pointing in the same direction, just like do whatever you want, don't follow rules, whatever you are, that's how you should be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I remember there was a verse that I read from, I don't know what song I was reading, and it said that be who you are, or something like that, because God makes no mistakes. Okay? So what was being said is that whoever you are is God's fault. That's basically what you're saying.
Yeah.
Whoever you are is God's fault, and God makes no mistakes, so what you're doing is right.
Right.
So what kind of horrible philosophy are you giving to children, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, and it seems innocent because like, for example, an Arab parent in America who wouldn't really understand most of the lyrics, won't know what's being said.
Yeah.
He'll just hear some jolly music and his son's playing all the time. 4 or 5 years later, his son's so disobedient and he's probably into drugs, into partying, into alcohol and stuff like that. And he's surprised. He thinks it came out of nowhere, but it was actually growing. It was actually growing, and it was accumulating in him.
Under his
throughout
nose, yeah. And I say in the music, it's a religion, it's a methodology, it's like a minhaj, because depending on what artist you buy, what genre of music you listen to, if you buy these heavy metal guys, they have a certain religion, minhaj, methodology. If you buy these hip-hop guys, they have
They have
a
a
certain...
sunnah as well.
Yeah, it's a package. It's not just something innocent that you kind of, like a little nursery rhyme that goes one ear, not the other, or something.
Exactly.
You know, so, you know, speaking of this topic, let's continue speaking about it. Let's take a look at this report, and we'll be right back.
Subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah, I'm calling your name.
To my sisters in Burma, we were unable to come to your aid. They told us that you were tied up and gang raped, but we were too busy watching commercial breaks. Reality TV has got nothing on the reality that they see. Palestinian children throwing full-grown rocks in 3D. I'm sorry that we are weak, unable to even speak. And I'm truly sorry about what happened on 9/11, but it had absolutely nothing to do with me. That Islam you see on TV does not represent me. I'm too busy waging jihad against myself. My own nafs are my enemy. I'm sorry that Muslims and Muslim lands do not represent Islam. This religion is perfect, but we, on the other hand, I'm sorry for pointing fingers. I forgot the rest were pointing back at me. And I'm sorry that I look for faults in you the same way I told you not to look for in me. I'm sorry to anybody who has ever looked for inspiration through me. I'm a sinner and a fraud. Only Allah knows about my deeds. If sins had an odor, I doubt any of you would come next to me. On the contrary, you would flee. So please forgive me, my bad. I know some of you might not agree with how I move. Maybe this poetry thing ain't for for you, and if it's not, hey, that's cool. Just do not speak ill of me whilst I'm not in the room, because I don't mind taking your good deeds if they don't mean that much to you. I promise you it's the truth, so please forgive me in advance. Ya Allah, I know I have wronged myself, but please give me another chance. And to anyone whom I've abused, grant them ease to all their sorrows, because if we can't even forgive each other today, how can we expect to be forgiven tomorrow? You know, sometimes I wonder about Joseph and his brothers, the amount of pain they put him through, all the years he had to suffer. But look at this man, Yusuf alayhi salam. What did he say when their places had changed? No blame on you this day. Subhanallah. Could any of us ever do the same? Forgiving is not forgetting, it's just letting go of the pain. We hold grudges like guns, somehow always quick to aim and blame everybody else. But what difference does it make? Because nothing will change until we decide to change the condition of ourselves, regardless of who's to blame. So forgive me if I'm late, but let me just be the first to say, I'm sorry, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive us all for our mistakes.
With Allah, Allah, I'm calling your name.
Welcome back to Let's Talk. If you're just tuning in, I certainly hope you like this topic. We are discussing not being off the hook, and you do have responsibilities as a Muslim, whether you're a scholar or not, to somehow convey this message of Islam to your friends, your neighbors, your coworkers, the people around you. If you were tuning in before the video, I certainly hope you appreciated it and liked it. I believe the brother Buna Muhammad is from Canada, and he does spoken word poetry. I'm sure you can check him out on YouTube. I really like the spoken word poetry because it's kind of a self-expression, and it's nice. It's an alternative to the musical instruments that people are using that is wrong, so in my opinion. So I believe that this stuff is a good alternative, inshallah. Brother, what if, like you said, though, I'm not a scholar, okay? I don't have any ilm, unfortunately. I don't study Islam at a university. So what? Aren't I off the hook? How can I convey Islam, if I don't know what to say and I don't have a proper understanding of Islam in the first place? How can I will do more damage than good. What do you think?
First step, you just need to be well behaved. The behaviors of Islam, just to present your Islam in a good way, just to be a God person. People in the West, or Muslims in the West, people indicate them and say that they're doing this because they're Muslims. So make the thing you do is a good thing. So people can say he's a good person and he's doing good things because he's Muslims, not doing bad things, and then people will say he's doing bad things because he's Muslims as well. True, so it's the same. So be the good part of Islam and show the good aspect of Islam, because Islam is good and Islam is the perfect religion. So do not show your bad part. So you're showing Islam in a bad way, and people will say that you're doing this because you're Muslim. So you are insulting Islam, and you're insulting the Muslims as well. So this is a responsibility we should have as well.
I found when I first became Muslim in America, when I tried to speak about Islam, I did more damage than good because I didn't know what I was talking about anyways. Looking back, I realized that, right? But then if I would, and in other situations when I tried to have good behavior, this was a more positive thing because people were watching. However, I heard Pierre Vogel on this program, he said, look, it's not enough. He always says this, being good is not enough. You have to at some point give the message. So what do you think, brother? Go ahead, your thoughts.
I think definitely sometimes as Muslims we think that we have to have, a million books memorized before we start telling people about Islam. But if you look at the character of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, people wouldn't necessarily become Muslim because of his words, because of his actions. And there was a brother in UK, and he went to a supermarket, and the lady, the assistant that was serving him, he didn't look at her. He was just looking down, looking around. He wouldn't look at her in the face and be talking to her. So she asked him, why aren't you looking at me? And he says, because Islam teaches that we don't, look in the face of women, we lower our gaze, etc. And so she was quite interested about it. And so she looked into Islam from that, and she became Muslim.
Allah.
And guess who she married? Married the same guy.
Yeah, mashallah.
You know, so it's not about necessarily having tons of books memorized and speaking about it. Sometimes just normal behavior.
Right.
Whereas you have a famous example of the Prophet ﷺ, he's walking and the ladies is insulting him, and look at this man, he's dividing us, and look at what he's done, etc., etc. And he's just listening to her. And then, excuse me, what's your name? Oh, I'm Muhammad, the same man who you've been insulting the whole time. And she becomes Muslim. So there was nothing to do with this long talk or this long lecture. It was just
behavior.
It's a behavior, just good akhlaq.
Hey, thank you for that example. We're going to take a short break. We'll continue. You guys stay tuned to Let's Talk. We'll be right back.
Perfect my alliance and I praise. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi. Subhanallah. How perfect you are. Allah. Subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Every time you sit for halqa or dhikr, especially in the masjid, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will provide us with the following. نزلت عليهم السكينة, tranquility. You feel like peace of mind, comfort for your eyes whenever you're sitting in the halqa in the masjid. غشيتهم الرحمة, Allah covers this gathering with His mercy. وحفتهم الملائكة, that was stated in the previous hadith, and the angels will surround them. وذكرهم الله في من عنده.
Don't miss Dr. Muhammad Salah's all-new weekly program, Gardens of the Pious, live from 9 to 10 p.m. Mecca time every Wednesday night, only on Huda TV.
Subhanahu wa ta'ala.
You guys aren't off the hook yet. You still have one more segment of Let's Talk. You guys, thank you for staying tuned. I certainly hope you appreciate the information that we have provided for you this far. Brother, what do you think about the topics that we have been discussing? You're not off the hook yet. Go ahead.
Being a good humor is necessary. And Islam stresses that be good with your friend and your family, with your neighbor. That's very important. And what is our responsibility? The first responsibility is that learn the Quran and teach them to others. This is the first one, because it's a major responsibility of a Muslim. In Hadith also come and clearly say that the best among you is the one who learn Quran and teach it to others.
Yeah.
It means this one the best among us. And the second one is spreading teaching of Islam. Like Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Why Allah sent Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu? For spreading the Islam, to show the way to humankind, that how can we live. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala يقول, I will raise you, O Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, witness against the Muslim, and I will raise the Muslims a witness against the rest of the mankind. Hazrat Muslim is gonna be witness against us, and he will be told to Allah that what this you told me I sent to the mankind, I fulfill my job.
Right.
And the other responsibility is our to show to the, Islam to the non-Muslims people. And the second one is doing jihad bin nafs. This is very a major jihad, and this is a very big major responsibility to control ourselves, to control
discipline.
Because this is personality, saving yourself from shaitan.
Of course.
Yeah, this is a very big.
And this is huge for especially the kids in the Western world too. You have to have discipline, self-discipline. You can't just have this bad behavior where you just go for your desires. You have that discipline. I think that's what you mean.
Yeah. Like that. And the third one is fulfilling all 5 pillars, like namaz, roza, hajj, and zakat, like that kind of. We
And
must
fasting.
be, fulfill this one.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, brother. Go ahead, brother. What are your thoughts?
I want to I remembered something from the last time I was with you guys during we were mentioning the beneficial points from the Prophet ﷺ's last sermon.
Yes.
And remember at the end of it, he ﷺ said, convey this message.
Yes, thank you, brother.
Yeah, subhanAllah. So, yeah, that's the importance of da'wah for any Muslim. And another thing I want to mention is that I think the system of Islam, the system that Islam provides you for your life, the Sunnah and the Quran, are almost enough. If you're not someone of ilm, that is enough for da'wah. Because, like, for example, being good to your wife. Like, imagine this scenario, a Muslim wife and a non-Muslim wife with not the best husband. And the non-Muslim wife is complaining about her husband. He does this, he comes home late, he's always looking at other women when I'm with him. And she's like, what do you have to say about your husband? And she says, oh, well, he's really good, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's a great source of da'wah, and
Yes.
it's sincere. It's better than even the da'wah that we're doing right now.
Yes.
So, you know, the sunnah and the way that Islam provides us to live is enough for people to be interested in us, in what we do. The proper way, of course.
Yes.
Not just having a lihi, not just doing all the superficial things.
Yeah.
You got to get into depth, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not being greedy. A true Islamic country wouldn't have poor people. We would have zakah given by all rich people to all the poor people. There would be a balance in the financial status of the country. Things would be so much better. So that would actually make people interested in this country. Islam would be studied then. You would have non-Muslims studying the economic system of Islam. Why do they not have poor people? Why is no one hungry in this country?
Right.
And it would be like, because that's what because of that thing that you think is so small of iqam salah, ita'u zakah, giving zakah is one of the second pillar of Islam. So the third pillar of Islam, sorry. That would manifest its importance at a bigger scale if we actually followed it, subhanAllah. So that's a huge source of da'wah. I think Islam spread through Spain just through businessmen.
Or even Indonesia, I believe, and Malaysia, all these countries as well.
Through businessmen. Yes. And these weren't knowledgeable people, but I don't know about the level of knowledge they had. But they weren't there with books and giving lessons and stuff. They were just doing business.
Yes.
But they did it the proper way, and that's what made them look so interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, thank you. It's one big fat da'wah opportunity, especially when you're in the Western countries, because like you said, everybody's looking at you. Just be a decent human being, be a good Muslim, inshallah. You guys, we're going to take a look at this report. You guys stay tuned to Let's Talk.
I'm calling your name.
Thank you for making time to be on the Dean Show. You're the president and vice president of the Global Deaf Muslims. We want to talk to you a little bit. Tell us a little bit about your organization and what you do.
So the organization itself, the Global Deaf Muslim, it's an American organization here. Also, we have Canada involved to try to educate Islam in terms of sign language for the deaf, because we have about maybe half of the deaf, 500,000 about the deaf who are located in America don't have the access to Islamic knowledge, and the concept is not being taught. All of these children are being neglected away from that information. So alhamdulillah, we're the only organization here to try to be able to educate the deaf children, also the adults.
So what we're going to do here, we're going to deliver the message of all the messengers of God. It's a very unique show. Alhamdulillah. How do you say alhamdulillah? How do you say all praise to the creator of the heavens and earth? Alhamdulillah. How do you say that?
Alhamdulillah.
How do you do it?
Alhamdulillah.
Say right now, alhamdulillah. Say alhamdulillah for all the blessings that the creator has given us. Can you help me deliver the message of Islam to those who can't hear?
Inshallah.
Let's start off with this word Islam. Let's define what Islam means. Islam is a simple word that means submission, having a relationship by submitting yourself to the one who created you, the one God.
Islam here would teach, yes, there's only one God and no other God. So this Prophet Muhammad, he's the messenger to deliver the message and revelation of the Quran. That's what we intend to do to the deaf community. Also trying to educate them about the 5 pillars of Islam. And as we know, the first one is the Shahada and how to pray. 5 times, zakat, and the Ramadan, and inshallah the Hajj at the very end in Mecca.
Let's talk about the pure monotheism for a second. Pure, just only worshiping God, one God. How do you say one God? Just one God. Like, let me see. One. That's it. One. That's it. We don't worship Jesus. We don't worship Muhammad. We don't worship the sun. We don't worship the moon. Not a monkey. Not an elephant. Not a man. Not a woman. Just God. That's Islam. Just one God. And as soon as you make a Holy Ghost into God, or you make Jesus into God, you give anyone divinity next to God, you've set up a partner with God. And that crushes the pure monotheism. It's only one God. So go ahead and expound on this. I want you to expound on this for those people who, let's say, they don't know the purpose of life, and we're trying to explain to them the purpose of life. Have you had encounters of doing dawah, inviting people to purpose? How do you start off a conversation in sign language?
So often what we do, we often go to colleges, masjids, schools, any of those local community centers. What we do is we provide community service. We always teach about, inshallah, the one God, only worship, only neglect all the images, idolatry, all of these things, and reflect on pure monotheism for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even if you're deaf, blind, or for whatever reason that you are neglected away from pursuing those kind of things, but you always know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is flexible with us. We're here to worship and only worship the Creator. So we're here to also educate the deaf people, to try to understand different sign language, how we can connect with each other, how we will share that same boundary. When you have a hearing person, they speak, and you can share that relationship, but when they're deaf, that's a boundary we have. So we rely on the sign language to try to teach that pure monotheism as well as other Islamic.
Subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah, I'm calling your name.
Welcome back to Let's Talk. That was an amazing video with Eddie from the Dean Show, interviewing that brother there with the translator as well as using sign language. And brother, what do you think about that video? I mean, that was amazing to see. Look, people who, Allah has put them in this situation, instead of like complaining or feeling sorry for themselves, they are giving doubt to other people in their position. I think it's amazing. What do you think?
I was really surprised of the way he uses signals and as fast as he can to communicate with others. And I would say, alhamdulillah, as you do. But, I'm really surprised. This man is deaf. He doesn't speak. He doesn't hear. And he feels the responsibility to the level that made him just trying to deliver the message of Islam to the others. Yeah, so what are we supposed to do? Yeah. We're supposed just to live or die for this message. As I told you before, that it deserves a lot to do. And this man is like, I don't know what to say. That we all should have this man in front of us and remember what he did or what he's doing just to deliver the message of Islam. So all of us should do that, just deliver this message to the others and just to spread Islam all over the universe.
Thank you, brother. What do you think, brother? Because the guy, he's deaf and he's happy to be Muslim, and he's spreading the deen amongst people that are also deaf, and I think it's an amazing thing. We can hear and see and talk, and perhaps we're not appreciative of that.
No, definitely. It just goes to show that no matter what you have, everything is a blessing. That person may be deaf, but he still has the blessing of being able to convey the message of Islam. That's a blessing in itself, no matter what kind of situation you're in.
Yes.
I mean, so it's just a reminder for us who are able-bodied and can see and can hear, that all of these things that we have, all of these faculties, we're going to be asked about them. What did you do with your eyesight? What did you do with your hearing? What did you do with your ability to speak? And so we're going to be asked about these things, so we need to use those faculties. And just imagine a reward for a person who doesn't have the same faculties as everyone else, but is working just as hard. It's quite amazing.
And he's doing more than the rest of us, subhanAllah. We only have about a minute left, brothers. Go ahead. Right, give me your thoughts on the video.
It was amazing. It was amazing for me that look at, he cannot speak, and he wants to deliver the message to the world, and we are alhamdulillah talking. We must be, this is our responsibility, and to show them the Islam. And in Quran أيضا يعني also Allah يقول that I have chosen you Muslim as the best among all the nation, because you call people to tread forbidden and stop evil and believe in Allah. Why Allah chosen Muslims? Because they are calling to Islam. Calling, it means that this is our responsibility. The second one is stop evil. Stop amr bil maruf wa nahy anil munkar.
Yes, right. Stop, call to goodness and stop evil.
Yeah, this one.
We only about 30 seconds left. Thank you, brother.
That was great. No, I'm just kidding. What do you call it? SubhanAllah, I mean, he's an inspiration for all of us. We should start using all our faculties for doing what he's doing, mashallah.
Thank you, brother. In the last episode, or a couple weeks back, we brought the sheikh who couldn't see, which was inspiring as well. And
that's incredible.
And this was incredible as well. You guys, thank you for your time. You guys at home, thank you for your time as well. I hope you appreciated and enjoyed this episode of Let's Talk. Don't forget to support us on social media, facebook.com/HudaTV, YouTube as well, you guys. Until next time, I leave you in the care of Allah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Perfect, my Allah is and I praise Him. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi. Subhanallah, how perfect you are, Allah. Subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah, Subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah. I'm calling your name, Allah. I call you, I need you, Allahu Akbar, Allah. Your mercy is great.